Welcome to another edition of Village Media's Profile on the Travel Industry. I'm Scott Sexsmith. On today's show, we escape to the high seas and explore all things related to the wonderful world of cruise vacations, specifically with Celebrity Cruises. And today I'm very excited to be joined by Maxine Gundermann, the Market Sales Manager for Eastern Ontario for Celebrity Cruises. Maxine, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Scott. Pleasure is mine.
I was very excited, not going to lie, putting this show together because I'm one of those who have never been on a cruise, and you and I talked about this the other day, so I'm very much looking forward to learning a ton and then booking my first adventure on the open water. So let's dive right in. We've spent the last almost 2 years now in a global pandemic that has affected virtually every industry and business type to varying degrees, and it's no secret that the travel industry was one of the hardest hit. Maybe we can start off by talking how COVID-19 has impacted your industry.
100%. I would say it was a total 180, just coming to a grinding halt, something that we've never seen before. And it was really interesting to experience it and more importantly, see the behind the scenes of everything that's going on with global relations, port services, because it doesn't just affect our business, but it affects all of our crew members, whose livelihoods depends on it, tourism from every single country around the world. So it was a huge, huge impact. And I can recall the early January, February, March of trip interruptions, very last minute. I remember that call. It was Friday, the 13th of March. And, we got the call that we were going to suspend all operations for 2 weeks, right? We can almost laugh at that time frame now. And it was about 3 or 4 p.m. And on a Friday, people are flying to get on the cruise on a Saturday or on a Sunday. So I was getting on the phone and say, don't get on that plane. There's no cruise waiting for you there. So the early days were wild, to think of the operations and how it was affected. But then you kind of started to see these green shoots. We were able to work on the business from the inside out. And so we created new programs, we created new campaigns, new strategies, new focus, and really knowing that eventually we were going to return to service. And that happened. We've been sailing since May of 2021 and can say that we are delivering the absolute best cruise vacation possible. And really can consider in the short term, when we look at all of the protocols and extra guidelines, that it can be the safest place on the planet. So it provides a unique opportunity for those who are cruising, the first to come back with us. We've been sailing now for maybe 8 months, I guess. And so they have less people on board, more service, there's more crew members and passengers. So there's all these unique experiences that as a veteran cruiser, you would notice in an enhanced, elevated opportunity. But we were really looking forward to the future when we don't have to think about any of the short-term policies and extra guidelines, and we can really just open up the world again.
And I really like that glass half full approach that although you couldn't cruise and you couldn't entertain clients and customers, it took that time to kind of pivot and reinvent yourself and get better at what you were already great at.
That's it. The old saying, you can't fix a boat when it's in the water. We never thought we would have that opportunity to completely stop operations, and seeing all of the silver linings and social media and, heartwarming about our crew and the passion we have, it really shows, right? Any company, I think the modern world really focuses on purpose more than anything else. And so any company can say, we care about our employees, we care about the planet, we care about what we do. But when tasked with something like this, you really show your true colors. And we took care of travel agents, we took care of our employees, our crew, and, are now able to move forward pretty strongly.
Any idea, Maxine, in the time that you guys weren't cruising, how many cruises didn't happen? Did anybody take the time to tally that up, that number?
I think that would just break our hearts. You know what? Great question. I mean, it's millions and millions, right? If you think about how many passengers were affected, are you counting all 18 months of it, of the halt? So there's so many different ways to slice and dice it, but to think that every single cruise in the world had stopped is pretty monumental.
At any point, did you kind of sit down and maybe go through a little self-reflection, thinking, "Geez, maybe I'm not in the right industry," not knowing how long this was going to last and what the future held?
Of course, just for a nanosecond though, because Celebrity Cruises is part of the Royal Caribbean Group, a very strong player. So, and the most important thing was communications. We had corporate-wide town halls with the president, the chairman, the CEOs, and from a financial standpoint, knowing that we were raising capital, our investors were strong, we always had the confidence knowing that we were going to do the right thing and that we were going to come out of this. So it's been really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I bet. And I think it helps and certainly speaks volumes when leadership at that level steps up and conveys the positive message, down to the rank and file that, what, it's shaky right now, but it's going to be okay. And the future for Celebrity and let's be honest, our competitors, it's okay. We're going to rebound. And it sounds like you guys have done that terrifically since May of 2021. So let's kind of jump fast forward now to that time. Cruise ships back in the water, customers are on board, but I'm guessing there have been some monumental changes in how you do business because of the pandemic. Maybe you could speak a little bit about what's changed.
Scott, it's interesting because I wouldn't say monumental changes.
Wow.
I mean, logistically speaking, everyone must be fully vaccinated. So the call centers doing the call outs to verify that before the cruise, making sure the planning is in place is certainly there. It's a madhouse today.
You know what? That is not the first cat that I've seen walk through a Zoom. It wouldn't be a Zoom call or one of these sessions if there wasn't a cat. So that's just awesome.
That is definitely the signature of the last 2 years. It's definitely been animals getting involved in the business meetings.
Animals, and I think the words "I think you're on mute" are just staples of what we've done in the last 24 months.
You can have a bingo card and get a full sheet every time. Even 2 years later, someone's still always on mute.
Absolutely.
Or can't get in. So, but you know what? So the logistics are definitely there. But once you get on board, so all of the planning and energy is spent getting to the cruise. And then once you're on board, we actually have not changed nearly anything. And that is what is really incredible. So when you're thinking, everyone is fully vaccinated. So already a safer, percentage than our home communities, knowing that every single person has that full protection and everyone is tested at the same time. So you have to bring your own test. So again, the logistics, we're not doing all of the testing at the terminal. So when you arrive, we call it curbside to poolside, you're golden. You're just cruising on through the terminal, the check-in process and getting on board. So even at less capacity currently, we don't scale back anything. So the pools are open, dancing's open, live entertainment, guest entertainers, buffet. That was one of the, biggest questions before we got to it is, how on earth are you going to still have the buffet? I can't cruise without a buffet. And I agree. I absolutely love that venue. And so it's full service. We have the capacity, we have the manpower, we have the service standards to then offer everything, the grill, the omelets, breakfast, lunch, dinner at the buffet, full service. So no one else is touching those serving utensils. It's probably the way it always should be, right? So we can really see some short-term restrictions or requirements and long-term benefits. And a perfect example, one thing that we had already been working on before the pandemic, this was kind of one of those tedious procedures you have to do at the beginning of any cruise, is the safety briefing. And we would pull you out of the hot tub and close down the bars, and everyone would go to their designated area and do that safety briefing together. And it just kind of, takes 30-40 minutes out of your day on the first day and interrupts the operation. So we always had a plan of wanting to improve that. And so it took, a year of developing the program, a year to get the clearance from Coast Guard and those kinds of safety people. And it's now on your phone or on the TV in your room. You can actually do the safety briefing and verify all of the different steps. on your own. The comfort without having to interrupt your cruise. You have to do it before we set sail at about 3-4 p.m. Sure, you go and check into that designated area and talk one-on-one with the guides that are there. So just there, you're seeing a long-term enhancement that is going to elevate the cruise product. And we patented proprietary technology, and then we shared it with the entire industry, because no one should have to go through the tedious prehistoric muster drill, as we call it, the safety briefing, as it was before.
Right, right. And what's nice is it sounds like the precautions are all in place without disrupting your passengers and the experience that they're going to have.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the perfect marriage.
Okay, one of my biggest fears has always been, and like you know, and I've shared this with you, I've never been on a cruise, and one of my biggest fears is that of seasickness, and you know, shelling out some money for what I would hope to be a great vacation and spending it in my cabin because I'm nauseous for 5 or 7 days. And when you and I spoke the other day, you relayed a wonderful story with me that I'd like you to share with our audience, if you could, about your experience.
Absolutely. I've been sailing for about 10 years now. And being Canadian, you know, I had never done a vacation cruise in my life. I remember one year my parents asked, you know, would you be interested in a cruise? And we just didn't know anything about it. So all of a sudden, I graduate university, I'm looking for a new adventure, and working on cruise ships comes about. I had never stepped foot on a ship in my life. And I said, all right, sign me up. However, I have severe motion sickness. I can't read in a car. I can't be backwards on a bus. You know, even if an airplane is turbulent, I can get very, very nauseous. I'm a scuba diver, and I don't like the scuba diving boats because they're just those little things going up and down into open water. So I've done it all, and I get sick 90% of the time. The taxi drivers, yeah, stop, go, stop, go. I get on the ship. They're so big. And they're so stable, and the technology is there. So we're thinking, you know, you have to imagine the capacity of Celebrity is between 2,000 and 3,000 guests. And our service is that top notch that has a 2-to-1 ratio. So you're going to add another half of that in crew. So you're looking at a vessel that's holding 3,000 to 5,000 people. So they're quite large, they're quite stable, they have extra stabilizers, ballast tanks, all this underwater technology for a smooth ride. I am never seasick on a cruise.
Wow.
And so it gives me peace of mind knowing how sensitive I am in any other scenario, and then can talk with confidence to the cruise experience, knowing that, you know, we'll be sailing away. And this was when I was working on board, and my office had a window right behind me, and I could hear everyone chatting as they're walking by to say, oh, we're moving. And it's like, we've been moving for 3 hours. We set sail before sunset. You don't notice it's dark out now. So, you know, it's incredible. If we have a hand balancing act, you're holding a martini glass, they're balancing on a dime, wowing you on the main stage. We can do it all on board. It's fantastic.
So what you're saying is there's still hope for me, and failing that, there's always multiple bars on board that I could find. And
they say the more you drink, the straighter you walk.
I've heard that expression. Maxine, let's talk a little bit about the fleet. I think by my count, there's 16 ships within the fleet, and if I read correctly, a new one coming this spring.
Close.
Maybe, okay.
We are currently at 14. We're quite a small fleet when you look at the rest of the industry, who might have 25, 30 ships. We're
Right.
actually one of the youngest cruise lines as well. All of our ships were built in 2000 or later. So no ships from the 90s. And that was one thing you saw during the, you know, pandemic and the suspension, was some ships going to, you know, the shipyard to be sold for scraps. And that wasn't necessarily, sure, you get a little bit of, we didn't have to, you know, our fleet is so young, we didn't have anything to scrap. But sure, you get a little bit of influx of money from that, but really it was just a turn of ships. There's a lot of ships from the 90s out there. So we have 14 ships divided into 3 different size series. So we built 4 ships in, I think it was like 2 or 3 years. We actually introduced 2 ships in the same year, one year. And then we built another 5 ships. In 5 years. And now we are in the midst of building a new series. that you might have heard of. It includes Celebrity Edge, Celebrity Apex, and we are less than 90 days away from debuting a brand new ship. So even through all of this, the shipyard continued to operate, and we were able to build a $1 billion ship behind the scenes, and she's ready to debut in April.
Wow, that's exciting. Any hints that you can give us about what we can expect from this new vessel?
Oh, I love sharing secrets. Yes, there are so many spectacular new features and innovations on these ships. And that's one thing that Celebrity Cruises is known for, is cutting edge innovation, leading the industry in so many different regards. So when Edge, the first of this new series, was introduced, it had something called the Magic Carpet. And this is a platform. It's the size of a tennis court that overhangs the side of the ship. It's a venue, a bar, a lounge, a restaurant that is on the outside of the ship. So if you look up a photo, you can go to the website, look at the Edge, and you're going to see the Magic Carpet. It's fantastic. The best views possible, connecting us to the destinations, the ocean, the sunsets. There's some really incredible videos. So we continue to build off of that. So the Beyond, we've purposely named her Beyond because she goes above and beyond the design of Edge and Apex. And one thing that I'm very excited about is a new restaurant. We are the brand that is known to be the foodie brand, not in a snobby, uptight way, but in a I want to be wowed and amazed and try new things. So the food and wine list, we're actually one of the only cruise lines in the world to have Wine Spectators Awards of Excellence for our wine lists and offerings on board. And we've partnered with a 2-time Michelin star chef, Daniel Balut. He has restaurants in Toronto, New York, Dubai, France, world renowned. He is opening his very first restaurant at sea on Celebrity Beyond.
Wow, isn't that awesome?
A restaurant called Le Voyage. So haven't seen the menu, so I can't share any secrets there, but I can't imagine having a 2 Michelin star chef, opening a restaurant on board the ship, and then you get to, no lineups.
Perfect.
Imagine a world reveal of a restaurant that doesn't have a 3-month wait to get in.
No kidding. No kidding. Wow, that sounds exciting. I think one of the most impressive things about Celebrity Cruises to me is the list of destinations and the ports of call. The list is just fantastic. Any personal favorites of yours or ones that you would highly recommend?
Oh, goodness. I dream about it all the time. It is an infinite amount of combinations and itineraries to choose from. I still have a long to-do list myself. And one thing you and I chatted about was thinking beyond your winter getaway. Us Canadians, we go down to Caribbean. That's very, very common for us. Or if you're on the West Coast, maybe you're going to Hawaii. There is a huge world out there. So summer destinations, Alaska is, a dream. Just a dream come true. Spectacular not icebergs, glaciers.
Right.
That, the wildlife, the wilderness is amazing destination. And then Europe is one of my favorites. So you're going to multiple destinations, and that's the best part about cruising is you unpack your bag once. I have access to my whole wardrobe. I'm not digging through a suitcase knowing I'm picking up and going in a couple days, but then you're waking up in a different destination. I did a land trip to Central Europe, amazing cathedrals and world-class cities, Prague, Vienna, Budapest. It was amazing, but I was exhausted. Every 3 days I was picking up and going and bus or riverboat, ferry, train, whatever it was, going from place to place. So I love the Mediterranean. Get into Barcelona. We sail the entire south of France. We overnight. That's one thing a lot of people who've never cruised before don't realize is you can actually spend multiple days in some of our destinations. We have more overnight stays in more places around the world than any other cruise line. So on one of my favorite cruises, we stayed overnight in Cannes, France, and it happened to be night 1 of Film Fest in May. So I literally watched them roll out the red carpet in front of that venue, and you could hear every hair dryer and garment racks running through the cobble streets. You're really in the destination.
Right.
So Love Mediterranean all the way to Greece. We do late night stays in Santorini and overnights in 5 different places in Italy. I mean, it's a dream come true. And then the winter time, more than Caribbean, one of my favorite next to do destinations is Asia. You know, if you're starting in Singapore and you're going to Vietnam, and we're going to some of the most remote corners of the world, and you can circumnavigate Japan, going all the way from Tokyo down to the southern islands. I mean, exotic that many of us have never experienced. And you're doing it from the comfort of knowing you're coming back to your 5-star floating resort and amazing food. And, you know, we're based in the US, and we source about 80% from North America. So you're having that balance of comfortability in terms of language, but also the authentic exploration of the destinations themselves.
Sounds exquisite, to say the least. You've been to some pretty incredible places. One thing I wanted to touch on, Maxine, I know over the years the perception with cruises has been, you know, the cost factor. You pay the base trip, and then there were all these add-ons. But now there seems to be a bit of a shift, and not to a full all-inclusive, if you will. But I know you guys use the term always included, and there are perks that literally are always included. Maybe you could speak about those.
It's true. We have been focused the most on packaging and making it easy. You know, there's a lot of nuances about cruise that makes it important to have a local travel agent and those kinds of things. And so now you can book your flights by Celebrity, and you're booking your cruise by Celebrity. And with that cruise, unlimited drinks are now included all the time. That is the best, especially for a Canadian market. That's what we expect. You know, I remember when I first started traveling internationally, a European hotel, for example, and it barely includes a continental breakfast. Right. You know, this is a great way where all of your meals are included, and now all of your drinks. So your cocktails, spirits, wines, beers, bottled water, fresh squeezed juices, specialty coffees, it really covers it all. So all your drinks, all of the gratuities, your tips for the service on board, typically we'd either prepay those or pay them every night, you know, on your room bill. And Wi-Fi, unlimited Wi-Fi is now included with your Celebrity cruise as well. So it definitely exceeds resorts in the sense that the food opportunity and the wine opportunity on Celebrity is definitely second to none. Also the entertainment, you know, some people don't realize you're having full production shows, full Broadway musicals, or the specialty acts like the hand balancers and aerialists. I mean, theater that holds 900 people on board the ship. So the entertainment factor, the food factor, and now having the drinks and the multiple destinations, it's the best value.
Yeah, it certainly sounds great. And you know, free drinks, I mean, that's, you know, yes, please. But the ability to have that connectivity included in 2022, I think is huge, because we live in a connected world and we need to have that connectivity. And I think if nothing else, it gives people peace of mind without having to reach into their pockets.
It's true. When I worked on ships, you had to buy your internet by the minute, and it was slower than dial-up, right? Because it was painful. And so not only are you watching your minutes go down as it's just circling and circling, it was just a non-starter. So we have invested in high-speed internet, real true connectivity that does give you peace of mind that you don't have to spend an hour doing something, you know, refreshing your inbox or sending a photo to a friend and connecting that way. It's great.
And if you've ever traveled with teenagers, it is a must-have.
I couldn't imagine how much they need that Wi-Fi. Yeah, they probably can't go on vacation at all.
Yeah, I can speak from experience that that has been a huge savior, having Wi-Fi. So that's great to hear. Let's talk about the different packages. I mean, I know you touch on the overnight stays, and that's a huge perk. But in terms of length of trips, how does that work with Celebrity?
Yes, we have a wide range. Now, one thing I was going to say, we do have some 3 and 4 night cruises or 5 night, you know, shorter. but that's not necessarily for the new cruiser. I wouldn't, sometimes some people think, okay, for my first cruise, I'll just do a little short one and see if I like it. But I do recommend that you do this, at least the 7-night cruise. On a week program, you would first of all get acquainted with the ship. In 3 days, you're going to be finding bars and restaurants and unique venues on the last day, and you're going to want to stay longer. So in 7 nights, you're going to see all of the menus, all of the shows, and get a little bit more acquainted. The 3-4 night are for the experienced cruisers that just need a weekend getaway and realize the value, special occasions, those kinds of things. And whilst the longest one cruise we have is about 18 nights from Honolulu to Sydney, most of our cruises average about 10 to 12 nights. So even in the exotic destinations, Japan, 10 or 12 nights. In South America, you can go from Chile down around the Horn of South America to Argentina in about 12 to 13 nights. And we even have a trip down to Antarctica, which is 14 nights, round trip Argentina. Go see the penguins and Falkland Islands. So, length of cruise is varied, completely varied. And a lot of our itineraries you can then do back to back. So in Northern Europe, for example, Apex is going to be in Amsterdam this year. So you can go Amsterdam round trip to Scandinavia, stay overnight in St. Petersburg, Finland, Estonia, you name it, Germany, we're going. And then the next voyage might be Norwegian fjords and really scenic, going all the way up to Norway and Sweden. Or the next one might be Iceland and Ireland. So many different combinations. You can understand now why people do back to back to back and might end up staying for a month.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and it makes me think about week-long all-inclusives that we've all been on, and you're absolutely right. You spend the first day and a half trying to get your bearings straight and figure out where everything is, and it's really by day 3 that you're kind of settled in, and next thing you know, you're halfway through your trip. So there we go. That's a recommendation. You need at least 10 days. Make it.
You said it. I said 7.
Well, if you're going to do it right, Maxine?
You have to. And you know what's really interesting, Scott, that I've noticed from all the resorts I've done and all of the cruises I've done, it's so interesting that time actually goes slower on a cruise. I feel more refreshed. I don't feel like, the days are just slipping away. I find when I'm at a resort, whether you're at the swim up bar all day or you're at the beach all day, not having that change of scenery, all of a sudden your week just flies by. But because every single day on a cruise, you're in a different destination. That's another thing people truly forget about. They always think about just the ship. Oh, I'm nervous about cruising because I don't want to be at sea for that long. Well, you're not at sea for those 7 days or 10 days. You're in port every day. Right. You're on solid land. And so you actually are more present in every moment. And I find that those 7 days, you're like, wow, it's only Tuesday. I still have 5 more days left. It's pretty interesting psychologically.
It sounds like you've traveled the better part of the world. So good for you. I'm envious and jealous. One location, favorite, what would it be?
Have you heard of the Galapagos Islands, Scott?
I certainly have.
I had the honor and pleasure of finally checking that off my to-do list. And we cruise Galapagos Islands in a very, very special way because we have 3 yachts. They're very small. We just built a brand new one. It's 100 guests. And wow. The classic one is 48 guests. And then we have a luxury catamaran for 16 guests. That's it. Really, really small, intimate, authentic. And so I flew down to Quito, the capital of Ecuador, and the Galapagos Islands are off the coast. They are owned by Ecuador, and it's a national park. And that has to be the most magical thing I have ever experienced. It is so well protected, and you're only with your own little tiny group that I was hiking every day, snorkeling every day, kayaks, nature walks, and all you see is animals. You don't see anybody else. and there's no fear for humans. So you got to step over the sea lion and you got to walk around the land iguana. I was watching the infamous blue-footed boobies mating dance right at my feet. And so 2 rules: you can't go off the path, and you can't get close to the animals. But the path's like this, and the animal's in the middle.
Wow.
So you really are, just right in the thick of it. So if you're someone who loves nature and wants to have that connection, Galapagos Islands is truly so special.
And it might be the one place on the planet where it doesn't matter if you have free Wi-Fi or not.
Well, I was posting photos. I counted on my phone 1,600 photos
Wow.
in those 10 days, and the videos. So I was just posting galore because I was in awe the whole time, and I had to share it with the world. So that's the only reason why I needed Wi-Fi. But the stargazing at night, and it was very, very special.
Sounds magical. Maxine, what's the one thing about cruising that people don't know or would be surprised to learn that maybe they should know?
Oh, goodness. There's so many things, and we've already covered a lot that I think was an aha moment. Something that they should know. I think really what it comes down to is the perception of crowds. What you really should know is how large our ships are compared to the ratio of how many guests we accommodate. And so when we look at the tonnage of our ships, we continue to build larger ships. The 5 ships I was telling you about at 120,000 tons has the same capacity as now the 145,000 tons with the same amount of people on board. So what I love about our ships is, you never feel confined. People ask me every day, well, do you ever get bored? Do you feel trapped? What do you do with the time? What if I feel claustrophobic? What if I can't swim? I always love that one. Oh, I don't cruise because I don't swim. I don't know how to swim. I said, well, do you know how to fly? You still get on an airplane. So it's really interesting, the preconceived notions of when you just don't think about it at all. Again, I had never thought about cruising until it was presented to me, and then it's just the absolute best. So I'm sailing. I'm getting on Saturday. I'm flying.
Yes.
I'm so excited, and taking with me 8 of my closest friends, none of which have cruised before. So I think also another thing people think about is age demographics. Whether you're a family looking for other families, or you're retired looking for other, there's a cruise line and a product for everyone. It really depends on the time of year. So if you're going over the holidays, we know families have restricted holiday times, so you're going to find more families on holiday sailings. If you're on a longer cruise, only those who have that amount of time will be on those. So it's really interesting that it used to be called newlywed or nearly dead, right? Those are the 2 categories that cruised, and that's nowhere close to the truth anymore. And we're seeing more young people taking advantage of the value and having that comfortable way of seeing multiple destinations at once.
Nice. Okay, as we get close to wrapping up here, I want to talk about a couple of incentives that you've been kind enough to put together for us and our Plus members. First of all, we've got a deal for people who book cruises. You're going to give them a $100 onboard credit. That's exciting. Maybe you could speak to that and maybe what people could use that towards.
Yes, the onboard credits are so much fun because you're spending our money. So when you already have your drinks included, the meals are included, the cruise is included, then, having that bonus credit on board, you can use it to book a special excursion in one of the ports. So whether it's a beach escape or a tour in Europe or wherever the cruise goes, that money can be spent on the day trips, on spa treatments, or shopping. The shops on our ships are incredible, from high-end jewelry, watch brands, all at tax and duty-free pricing, incredible deals to be had. So I'm already planning how I'm spending my onboard credits on my upcoming cruise, and we've done a catamaran sail and snorkel adventure in St. Martin.
That sounds just awful. I can't believe you still work there. The stuff that they make you do, it's just...
Yeah, someone's got to do it, and I guess it has to be me, Scott. So,
I guess so.
So that $100 credit. So anybody who's watching or listening, this is for planning any cruise in all of 2022. So again, you might be looking at your window right now and say, yeah, let's spice this up and let's go tomorrow. But you could also be saying, wow, we're finally getting ahead of this. What do I want to do this summer? Alaska, Bermuda,
Right.
Canada, New England, Europe, Mediterranean. We have this super cool cruise that leaves from New Jersey, goes up the Canada coast of Halifax, Newfoundland, and does 2 days in Greenland and 3 days in Iceland.
Wow, what a great
really,
trip.
really cool in August. And then all of next winter, right? So it starts, I don't want to fast forward all of 2022, but it starts getting cold again by October, November. So maybe you're looking for a cruise, all the way through December. I love our holiday sailings, especially after, before you used to host 20 people, dishes, cooking, who wants to do that anymore? Bring your holidays, bring your whole family. Everyone's traveling anyway to get to one household. Why not host your holidays on board? But even now, maybe you didn't get to have holidays with the extended family for the last 2 years. So this is a great opportunity. I love our holiday sailings and I love the New Year's cruise. Ring in the New Year. I rang in the New Year from 19 to 2020 on a cruise ship. And that was my last cruise before all of this. So lots of planning to be had. So if you're looking to plan a trip, then we have that special offer for you.
Okay, that's great. So that's the onboard credit. And now the biggie, and this is just a sneak peek, our month-long prize giveaway for the month of March is going to be a cruise for two. What can you tell us about that?
That is a Celebrity Cruise for Two. Complimentary free giveaway. We are so excited. You can see Scott's grin. It is a very rich offer or giveaway. I'm offering it to you. So enter to win, and it can be anything. Again, everything I've just highlighted: Europe, Caribbean, Bermuda, Alaska. And the giveaway is any cruise in 2022. It's a balcony room. We actually didn't get to talk about all of the different categories to choose from when you're on the cruise. So, there are interior cabins, which wouldn't have any windows.
Right.
And then we have a few ocean view rooms that would at least have the natural light of a big picture window. But over 80% of our entire ship, when we build new ships, and so we always want what the people want. And so most of our rooms are balconies. So imagine having your own room with the private balcony, walk outside. That's where it is, because I love hearing the ocean. I love feeling the warmth. I like watching the sunsets. I want to feel connected even when I'm in my own space, getting ready for dinner. Maybe you have a glass of wine. And so this prize giveaway is, in fact, a balcony stateroom for two, anywhere you choose in 2022.
That's awesome. We can't thank you enough for that. And again, that will start the first part of March. Very exciting. This has been great. If you're a lifelong cruiser or thinking about doing it for the first time, I don't think there's ever been a better time to do it. And of course, Celebrity Cruises has so many options to choose from. And let's be honest, after the last 2 years that we've all had, I think we deserve it. And certainly do it with Celebrity. And you can check out all the information, all the destinations, everything that you always wanted to know about Celebrity at celebritycruises.com. Maxine, I can't thank you enough for this. It's been fun. It's been informative. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, and certainly have a wonderful trip this weekend. You can now go pack your bags. We're all jealous.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's been my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you to all of you for taking the time to check out our series on travel today featuring Celebrity Cruises. Again, at celebritycruises.com. Thanks for watching. For Village Media, I'm Scott Sexsmith.